for those of you of a certain age, you might notice what I made my comments on. These are computer punch cards, which is what we were using for data and programming when Leon first joined the University of North Dakota. In fact, these are probably some of the ones that we were using. So I kept a few souvenirs, but I did put a few things on here. And what I wanted to do is kind of address what I see were his characteristics, his strengths as a faculty member at the University of North Dakota. And of course, a faculty member here is, it's the traditional role of teaching, research, and service, and also citizenship. I'm going to add that in at the end as well. And so I'll start off with his teaching, and some key phrases that come to mind when I think about his teaching are deep concern for students, a love of teaching, applied work in the classroom, and innovation in his teaching techniques. So Leon was here at the start of our undergraduate academic program, actually helped really get things going for our Bachelor of Science program that started in 1981, and in working with the geography program to make this happen. And so that got us going and having an academic program. And then sometime after that, of course, we realized that we were probably in the point to have a graduate degree. And so he helped out with getting the Master of Science program going. And shortly after that, I think in about 2001, he took over as our graduate program director. And it's a position he still holds. And so he has been the one to shepherd our program along, make sure we stay on track and are doing the best possible education for our students. And I think we have quite a few graduates in a room right now that would agree with me on that. And some of our current students are finding they're going to benefit from his input. So our current program size now is roughly 40 graduate students, including about 10 PhD students, which we added in 2006. So he's done a great job on moving that forward. And as Mark was talking about in the video about Leon's applied research, well, he also was providing our students with what we are now called experiential learning opportunities. I think that was before that term was even in the common literature. He just called it internships or just plain work, I think, but applied work. And so it was getting their hands into things that involved some of the research he was doing, some of the outreach he was working on, working with GIS software, Geographical Information Systems, which is now a widespread tool that is used in many disciplines. The way we got our master's program off dead center was to say, the university was a little reluctant to provide any resources to actually get that moving. But he said, all right, we'll offer it online, okay? And they said, oh, that sounds pretty innovative. Let's try that. So, and this was not just going to be take some videos and send them out, mail them out, you can mail them back kind of a thing. But this was meant to be delivered live, which would be synchronously or offline asynchronously. And Leon actually had to come up and put together the technology to make this happen. So it was not just getting the program to say we're going to do this, but how do we actually do it and make that happen. That was an example of his innovation. But there's one thing that he has always emphasized to the students, he does to this day, and he says, what's the value of what you're doing, especially if he's talking about research or projects, what's the value of what you're doing to society? What does this mean? What's the impact of this going to be? So students present maybe presenting a master's defense and presenting all the great work they've done on their thesis, and I just sit back and wait for it because I know Leon's going to ask you. He says, all right, what's the impact of this? What does this mean for people and things that are going on? So he really keeps us tied into the applied things and making sense out of what we're doing. So we really appreciate that. Along with his teaching, he has received a couple of awards over the years. He had an Excellence in Teaching and Research Award, and also his broadcast activities for that and the things that were going on there with, it was actually with Prairie Public TV. He received the Eric Severide Award, which was a national known broadcaster. So obviously some good things done on the teaching side. So on the research side, some words that come to mind: innovative, technology transfer, early adopter. All right, it's new technology come out, Leon has to have it, and Kathy will agree to that, I'm sure. He started off when we were working, doing our research under Bureau of Reclamation funding, which was acquired, through John's and our delegation's effort to keep us going year to year. But he did a lot of work with that, and he started off with data processing and in charge of all of the data that were coming in from the Bureau of Reclamation radars. And I have a little souvenir for you here. Now that was cutting-edge technology back then, all right? So he was in charge of this, and we had hundreds, if not thousands, of these tapes running through our facility. And then as we moved on and we got involved in some FAA research, he led that up, initially working with the development of the NEXRAD radar system, which is the national radar network that the National Weather Service now operates. And we were working with them specifically on some algorithms for detecting freezing rain and microbursts. So we deployed our radar. Leon was instrumental in getting our radar upgraded to Doppler capability so we could participate in that research, and we had our research jet involved with that for a number of years. So that was another big accomplishment on the research side, and very applied outcome to that, because now we have a national network of, 100 or so of these radars. So that was another big thing. And then Mark mentioned in the video talking about the highway transportation weather advances that he made in research there. And I'll leave some of that for you to talk some more about, Mark. I understand you'll be doing that. And the agriculture, his work with the farmer and the producers. He had this AgWinds, Agriculture Weather Information Distribution System, that he pioneered and was instrumental in getting more timely, useful weather information out to the producers in a sense that they could use it. So it's not just pushing numbers out, it was information, it wasn't data. So it was something they could use, and he was getting that out to the producers and in making it very useful for them. And so for his research activities, he also received a couple of awards. One was a Ford Foundation Innovations in American Government. He also received Individual Research Award and was part of 3 departmental research awards too. And then finally, on the service side, what comes to mind for me in the terms of Leon's service is concern for community and society. And so he is very aware of people and his surroundings and what people need, and talking with other people. So he had these centers that he developed, the Regional Weather Information Center that he opened up in 1993 in Odegaard Hall after people moved over into this building. And he said, how can we best use this space? And so he, again, colluded with John to come up with cooperated with John to come up with a good use for that space. And it was there that he had a lot of these innovations and new things that he developed, and ways of working with weather data to provide useful weather information. One of the earlier, the predecessor to that was something called the Severe Weather Analysis Center, or SWAC or SWAC we used to call it. And this was a service activity where those of us who were interested in severe thunderstorms would gather around the paper maps that we had to hang up on the wall and try to make sense and provide warning services for the university community and the city, and help them decide when to blow the sirens and things like that for tornado warning. So another example of his concern for the community and things that he has done. He has served on numerous UND committees, including search committees for various high-ranking officials, and national boards, national committees, the Transportation Research Board, the American Meteorological Society Committee on Transportation Weather. So lots of those types of things. And of course, all the outreach he's done to producers and grower groups around the region. How many trips? 20, 30 presentations a year, something like that. About 20. So out there, meeting with the people who will need the information and helping them out and making those decisions. So, and taking lots of phone calls, of course, as well. And so kind of the culmination for all of that work really was his Chester Fritz Distinguished Professor that he received in 2005, because that recognizes someone who has is accomplished in all of those areas, all those parts of being a professor or an academician at this university. And we were just fortunate, I guess, is the word, to have him in our department in atmospheric sciences and help make us what we are today. I've always found Leon to be a great source of advice, as others have. As Paul mentioned, people listen to what he has to say, so I listen to what he has to say, usually. So we move forward on that. And again, so it's also his spirit of community and societal concerns really come forth. So, you know, if I wanted to know a diplomatic approach to an issue or something like that, I would usually solicit Leon's advice, because he kind of knew the best way to handle that. So I think what I would call Leon is the best politician to never hold office. That's complimentary, okay? So anyway, so that's what I've felt and come across with Leon for the academic side of what he's been accomplished here at UND. So thanks, Leon.